Now I know everything. I see the way.
Number 1, we actually finally have Bite Barrel's long-awaited sequel, Forgive Me Father 2, which will now be coming to early access October 19 this year. It says it sees players once again go through the malevolent world inspired the works of HP, following the story of the priest from the first installment as he descends into his own darkest nightmares. The game is actually available through a demo, and we just got a new trailer for it too. Coming up behind that, we have Abysses. This is a co-op action first-person shooter I've mentioned last half a year ago, and even roguelike style with Bioshock-inspired settings, which is supposedly revolving around an advanced underwater civilization that both offers steam and cyberpunk aesthetics. The good news is we got a new trailer for it. The game is still coming to PCs, however, it's only a vague 2024 release window. Described as a third-person roguelike shooter. Number 3, we have Killer Bean. See, Killer Bean is the type of game that could potentially revolutionize stuff, but we're still waiting on that. You see, this game is not only a roguelike shooter, but a procedurally generated mix of maybe Max Payne, Grand Theft Auto, and the fast-paced action of all open-world Just Cause games, if that even makes sense. Anyway, here's some gameplay. It's set to be coming to all platforms by the end of the year.
Do you hear that? The clock is getting closer and closer to 12 o'clock.
Moving on, we have Crystal, a Theater of Isle. This is also a first-person survival horror, action-adventure. Crystal is coming to PCs only in the first few months of 2024, we hear, offering a rather historical Spanish setting, set in a dark and mysterious town where you have to deal with whatever these are. And hear this. The behaviors of the AI that will recognize your actions over time on your account. As if what I'm watching is not scary enough. Anyway, here's some gameplay.
Good evening, boys and girls. It's your favorite toy maker, Mr. Twister.
Number 5, we have a brand new IP from earlier today going by the name Twisted Tower, which basically says Willy Wonka meets Bioshock. How? Well, apparently 3D Realms is going crazy again, and this time it's offering the world's, at least one of its, bloodiest shows to date. Twisted Tower is described as an ultra-violent cross between Bioshock, Willy Wonka, and Disneyland. Coming to PCs sometime next year.
Is up to you. Your journey to the top will be broadcast to millions of listeners. The fruits will be the ecstasy of every beautiful girl across this great nation. So, are you lucky enough to find a velvet ticket and climb the Twisted Tower? Only time will tell.
Luna Abyss just got itself another new trailer. The word that it's coming to PCs and the next generation of consoles only early to mid 2024. I've mentioned Luna Abyss before, y'all have seen its trailers, perhaps the best in today's list. It has to be if we're comparing gameplay. But in terms of story, it's the protagonist is sentenced to prison on a distant moon of another planet, which happens to be a red moon, for almost 30 years, and then this is what happens.
Scout's job is to explore the unknown, and sometimes the unknown is dangerous. Why are you helping me? If you do this for me, I'll set you free.
Your destination, you're completely exhausted. There's very little Witchfire left in your blood. One of the first things you must do is replenish your powers. The fastest way to do it is to fight the witch's minions, ghouls and wraiths.
Available on the Epic Games Store for a couple of weeks now. At number 7 we have Witchfire, here with a new trailer. If you want something as good as the last Doom game or even the audacity of Bulletstorm games, well, you really, I would say, couldn't go wrong with Witchfire. It looks great, works addictive, and you probably need a second run to get it off your stuff for a while, because it's actually enjoyable. One problem, the game is rather short and it isn't on Steam. That's it.
Although it's possible to recover it, and the monsters you've eliminated come back from the dead. What's even worse, once the witch senses the powerful intruder who hasn't died so far, she will start throwing deadly curses at you, called the Calamities. These can raise the dead from their graves, or conjure a fog to unleash a hunt for your soul. She will stop at nothing to drive you out of her realm.
Almost 7 years since the previous iteration, Tripwire Interactive finally confirmed and revealed another Killing Floor a month ago, said the new entry is releasing on PCs and the next generation of consoles only early to mid next year. Killing Floor is legit the absolute lord of all co-op action horror shooters, if you didn't know, and the new one actually takes place 70 years after the events of Killing Floor 2. Take a look.
seconds. On your mark, set, go.
Coming up behind that, for you specifically, if you're into rhythm-based shooters like BPM, a little Doom even. Although this ain't a rhythm-based, so to speak, but we have Warstride Challenges. This is a speedrunning FPS in which your goal is to race your way to the top of whatever this is. The game is incredibly satisfying and is very addicting. There's a trailer. Warstride is available on PCs and coming to the next generation of consoles by the end of the year.
You for breakfast. Engage in deadly custom levels. Join the community of striders. Become an FPS master. Warstride Challenges is available now. What are you waiting for?
They say that Limbo is a world made from memories of the dead and memories.
Coming from the same publishers of the Coma games, the horror games. Number 10, we have Soulslinger. This is a roguelike action-adventure FPS that looks a little bit like both Call of Juarez and Darkness games. The premise is you are a gunslinger in a limbo involved in a war against the cartel, and you get to grow stronger with each run and each enemy you kill because you gather the souls. It's great. The game is coming to PCs rather soon. After quite a bit of wait, Ripout is actually back, and it's now releasing on PCs and the next generation of consoles only October 24 this year. If you are new, Ripout is an online co-op horror first-person shooter in which you play in procedurally generated rounds on different ships that are packed with mutants that can regenerate their whatever bodies, injured stuff. It's not just that, it's an Unreal Engine 5 project too, and quite backed with support.
Bullets.
Coming up behind that, we have Mullet MadJack. I've mentioned this game before. It's a single-player fast-paced FPS that is specifically made like you're inside an anime and classic one. The premise is absolutely bonkers. It's set in a future where humans and internet have merged into something else, which needs dopamine every 10 seconds, or else it'll boom. This game is supposedly releasing on PCs later this year.
Old school anime action. Mullet MadJack.
Rated a 10 out of 10 in its early access phase since a few months ago. At number 13 we have Quark, or Kavar. Kavar is a first-person shooter set in a fictional version of the 80s Czech Republic in which the player finds himself in a playground facility that is falling apart as they travel through it. You will have to navigate through tunnels that will encounter many obstacles and enemies in order to eventually escape. Full game is coming out soon. You can go through early access for about $16 now. I haven't played this one yet.
Again. This will be more difficult than I anticipated.
What's that supposed to mean?
Coming up behind that, we have Fortune's Run that's sitting on Steam through early access also since just a couple of weeks ago, delivering one of the legit, most accurate old-school shooters of all time. It's basically an immersive retro as opposed to a shooter, but it's both. It's fast-paced, brutal as it can be, doesn't feel like an early access game one bit for 1 second, and the whole thing's about $17.
hunters. You need guns. Lots of guns.
And last but not least, also available through Steam Early Access with mostly positive reviews and an $8 price, we have another retro-style action shooter going by the name Vampire Hunters. This is a roguelite retro FPS that offers some of the most unique and toughest guns to take down whatever these minions. You collect, upgrade, and dominate as you explore new levels just full of mutants and shit. Anyway, the game's releasing by the end of the year.
Vampire Hunters.